So it is 4 o'clock on Sunday, and this is episode 4 of Fade the Shade Away. Now, this episode is going to be part one of a series of episodes on mental health and mental health awareness. There are a lot of people who don't realize this, but I uh, deal with I have a mental illness. So I've dealt with depression for 2 years now. So after my separation, I went to some really dark places, and so I'm going to get into a little bit of that a little bit later on. Hey, see Edie and Joy and Hannah and Charles and Ronnie have all joined. Thanks to you guys. So what I want to start off with is talking about, I guess, what mental health is and what it can mean. Now, I know that a lot of people have their opinions of what mental health is and what it means for a lot of people. And a lot of people have this stigma. It's a stigma out there towards mental health. Let's just be real about it. A lot of people think that anytime you talk about mental health or mental illness or any type of thing like that, a lot of people just think that you're crazy. Now, coming up, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I told you when I'm doing these things, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Period. So, uh, growing up where I grew up, like I told you, we weren't supposed to make it. So, and if there's a problem, you had two choices. You either one, pray about it, talk to the church, to your pastor or whoever, or two, keep it to yourself. And the second option was the one that really became a part of who I am. I kept everything to myself. I didn't want to talk to anybody about what was going on with me as a child. I didn't want to, much less as an adult, because I felt like if I felt back then that a lot of people, and I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of people feel, I know a lot of black folks feel like if you put your business out on the street and people come in, they'll judge you for it. You can't say that I feel bad about, I just feel bad about anything. Because if you are, especially if you grew up in the hood, they'll eat you for lunch. They'll see you. It'll be seen as a sign of weakness. It'll be seen as that. Oh, you can't handle this. You know, they think they can punk you, and that's the thing. Uh, so, in order to protect myself, and I just kept things to myself. I didn't want to be seen as a weakling. I didn't want to be seen as a punk. So I put on a happy face. And like Joy says, you show you're happy to the world and keep hardships to yourself. And April, agrees. That's true for a lot of folks. It's like we don't talk about our problems. That's the thing. And I think when we get away from talking about our issues, talking about things that's going on with us, we bottle it up, and we just push it further and further and further and further down. And then one day you just explode and it just erupts, and somebody's going to catch a lot of hell. And that's just how it goes, unfortunately. And those people get in trouble. A lot of people with mental health problems unjustly, they end up in jail. You know, a lot of people, they don't know what to do with them, so they lock them up. Now, what I want to first talk about is what mental health is. Mental health, pretty much, it talks about, it's not just, mental health doesn't mean that you're crazy. Yes, or you take it out on yourself, Joy. Yes, you do. If you bottle it up, you take it out on somebody else, or worse, you can take it out on yourself. We'll get to that a little bit later too. So mental health does not mean, oh, somebody's crazy. That's the stigma. that's out there. It means, anytime you mention mental health, we ain't gonna talk about this. Such and such is crazy. We're gonna lock them up. We lock them up. We're gonna put them up. We're gonna put them away somewhere. I saw something on Facebook the other day where, that the president is trying to stop uh, some of the some of the stuff that's going on with mental health. He's trying to bring an end to it. And somebody said, "Well, that's just fine. There's more crazy people out on the street going out and killing people." I'm like, nah, dude. People with people with mental health, people with mental health, they're some of the least violent people in the world. That's one of those myths that we that I want to talk about. Is like, um, only people, about 3 to 5% of the people with mental health illness are violent, and for the most part, they're not going to be violent towards you. They're going to be violent towards themselves. They're not trying to go out and do it. It's people with mental illness aren't Hannibal Lecter. They're not like the serial killers in the movie. They're not like the people that you see, in the straight jackets and running around and, you know, beating up, the wall, or just taking out random people just for the hell of it. It's not like that. The majority of people with mental illness are nonviolent, and most of the time they don't really want to be around people, and that's the thing. So mental health, it deals with our emotional well-being, our psychological well-being, our social well-being. It's just like when it hits you, it can really have this constraining effect on you. It hits you hard where you just don't want to. Sometimes you just don't want to. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. I can only talk about my experience for right now. I'm in school right now for mental health counseling because there was a lot of things that I wish that I would have received when I was going through my issues that I didn't receive, and I want to be that therapist that can provide a little bit more. And I want to show I empathize now because, like, back in the day, I was just like everybody else. When you talked about mental health or somebody with depression or anything like that or anxiety, it's like, man, man, they can just get over that if they want to. Why did quit being a little bitch? Get over it. It ain't that bad. And that was my mentality. That was my mindset. It's just like, people don't want to. People don't care. Why do you want to deal with that? But the reality is, you know, it's not that simple. I thought that I never thought that I would be somebody that would suffer from depression or anxiety. Uh, and I think that's a myth that a lot of people think, that mental health will never have an effect on them. Give you guys a little bit of statistics. 1 in 5 American adults experience a mental health issue. 1 in 10 young people experience major depression, and 1 in 25 Americans live with a serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression. You know, 1 in 5, 1 in 10, and 1 in 25. So it's more common than what you think. Okay, it doesn't mean that that person can't function in society, because the fact of the matter is we can. So let me break my story down for folks who don't know. So I was I got separated back in whew, August of 2015. Now I thought that I would be okay, but the reality was I was not. I went to I went to this point where I didn't want to eat. I couldn't sleep. I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to go anywhere. The only safe place I felt that I had was in my house, in my bed, curled up under the covers. That was the only safe place that I had. Um, and when it got to a point where, I was like, man, my marriage is over. I didn't never think it was gonna be over, and things just, things happened where I was upset and I wanted to work it out, and it was like things that what's wrong with me, and it was things that I wanted to try to make better, and I could, as much as I thought that I could get, you know, my ex out of my head and move on and just live a healthy, happy life. The reality was it didn't happen like that. I um I went to some really dark places, y'all. But the thing about it, nobody knew because I was still the happy-go-lucky Blaze. I put my mask on and I could fool anybody. I would smile and it's like, hey, what's going on, man? What's going on? Ain't nothing. I'm good. Everything's good to go. But as soon as I got home, I would break down and just cry. And I would just, my whole will to live was just gone. I didn't want to be around anymore. I didn't want to, I didn't want to live, because in my mind, my life was over. If the person that I decided to marry wanted to end it and didn't want to even attempt to work it out, then obviously there's something wrong with me. I'm a horrible, horrible person, you know? So I would just like every day. It was horrible. It was a horrible, horrible life for me to live. And this just for went on for months. And then it just one day I had my first suicidal thought. And it was just like, it'd be so simple because if I do this, I won't have to worry about being in pain anymore. Nobody's, this is how my mind worked. Okay. This is how I know that this is the thing about depression, y'all. Depression is a bitch. It is a bitch, and there's no, it will, it will talk to you and tell you all these types of things, and you will believe everything that depression monster says. Everything that depression monster says, you will believe. And that depression monster was telling me is like, Gabe and Gracie don't need you. Gabe and Gracie, their mom is dating this guy, and he can be their new dad. He much better than you anyway. They'll be just fine. That depression monster was telling me, just go ahead on and do it. Ain't nobody gonna care. Don't nobody care about you anyway. If they cared about you, then they, try to pick you up. And that depression monster got the best of me. I remember this clear as day. It was in October, and the kids were my ex was bringing the kids to the house, and she asked could she bring the guy that she was dating with her, and I didn't like the guy. For me, now y'all know me. I can get along with anybody. I love everybody. I hate that guy. I don't like him at all. I'm gonna just put it out there. That's the truth. But when she said she was gonna break him because it would be convenient for them because they had errands to do, that just put me over the edge. And so what I did was I went and got. And this is gonna be all right. So for folks who know me for a long time and don't want to hear about stuff like this, you might want to turn away for a little bit because this is about to get like kind of bad. So what I did was it hit me. It hit me right there, and I was just like, "Ugh, it's time to do it. Let's just get this over with because, you know, it's no need and to continue on with anything." So I went and I got the biggest knife I could find in the house, and I started the cutting right on my wrist, just right there. I could see, you can still see the scratches, the cuts where they were. So when I got the biggest knife, and I just started cutting. And somewhere during that, the first cut, it was like a like a release, you know? And it was just like it just cut through, and I was just like, that feels so good. I can just keep on going. You know, if it feels like this, then just letting go is going to be like the best thing ever. And I cut again, and then something just hit me. It's just like, oh, wait a minute, this ain't right. This ain't right. Then it's like the you got angel and the devil like in the cartoons. The devil was like, do it, do it, do it, and then the angel was sitting there. It's just like, hey man, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. It's not the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. We're stronger than this. We're stronger than this. And I called, I called the, I called the, the lady that I was talking to at the time, and she was doing everything she could to try to talk me out of it, try to talk me out of it, try to talk to. But my mind was made up. I was going to do it. I was going to do it. I was going to do it. And somewhere in that conversation, I cut again, and my wrist is just gushing now, and it's just like it just clicked. It's like I need to get some help. I need to get some help. So I got off the phone with her, and I immediately called Holly Hill. And Holly Hill is the mental health facility in Raleigh. I called there. They told me everything I needed to get done, and I voluntarily admitted myself. Then on the way, I called and told the ex what was going on, and I called my grandma. I called my cousin, Becky. And I told them everything that was going on, and it's just like I didn't feel like I could call anybody else because those my cousin Binky is my lifeline. He's one of those people who in my family who I feel like I can call and talk about anything and not be judged for it. Because when he needs something, I'm there for him, and when I need something, he's there for me, and that's the bond that we have. I don't have that. I don't have that same. I'm bonded with everybody in my family. I love everybody in my family, but Becky and I have something that's a little bit stronger. So I went away, and I went away for a week, and I got some help in there, and just was weird. It's just like I get there and I check myself in, and I go through all the scenarios, and seeing what's going on, and I get there and I see people, and I see the stereotypical what people think they would see when they go into a mental health facility. You see people who are really out there. I saw people who were uh, alcoholics. I saw people who were bipolar. I saw people who were schizophrenic. I saw all these types of people there, and it was it was interesting to see because I finally felt like I was somewhere where people understood what it was that I was going through, and I didn't feel like I was judged at any time. And this was the first time that I was introduced to group therapy and an actual psychiatrist who diagnosed, he diagnosed me with major depression. And through group, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about how to help other people. But it was some things that I wish that I would have picked up that would have been a little bit better. You know, for me, I needed an outlet, and I needed an outlet to get my anger out, but I never had that outlet to really get it, you know. But I like to write, I like to journal, and journaling became a huge thing for me while I was there. And I wrote a lot of poetry, a lot of angry poetry, a lot of reflection, a lot of things that I would like to change. And I saw that when I did that, I would start to feel better. I found ways to cope with the things that I was dealing with. I found ways to recover. Now, it's not a cure that I'm looking for. It's not a cure for mental illness. It's always a recovery. We can always get better. We can always get better. Sometimes therapy works for people. Sometimes medicine works for people, and some people just choose to deal with it in their own way. It depends on the person. But for me, I know I have to have a support system. You got to have a strong support system in dealing with this stuff. You got to realize that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to reach out for help. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people with who are depressed or anxious or whatever, they think that they're alone. They think that they are the only ones to go through it. But in reality, you're not. You're not by yourself. It's plenty of people who are there who will listen to you, who want to help you. You just have to be open. And that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. Now, I told you where I come from, I didn't want to, it's kind of frowned upon, to talk about your issues. Now, combine that with being a firefighter. Now, we talk about a brotherhood and we talk about being there for each other. But the reality is, the way the way that a lot of old school firefighters think is that when you come to work, you leave all your problems at the door. When you come to that door, you got a job to do, and that's your job. You focus on the job at hand, and you're not supposed to bring your problems from home to the workplace. That's all fine and good, but the reality is, when you're going through a divorce, man, that's going to come. That's going to come with you. Or if you're on a tough call, you're on a really really tough call. Firefighters are not supposed to show any kind of chinks in their armor. This goes for any kind of first responder, firefighter, EMS, police, anybody in the medical health field. We're always supposed to have nerves of steel. We're supposed to go in and be able to handle anything and everything that we see. Okay, we're not supposed to talk about issues that may come up if we go inside of a burning building and then we're searching, and we hear people screaming, you know, help me, help me, help me, and you can't get to them. Or you go to a terrible car accident and somebody is, you know, mangled. You go there, you're talking to somebody and you're doing CPR on somebody, and they're talking to you and they say, help me, help me, help me. And then it is, you're trying to do all you can to try to save them. And that stuff has an effect on us, folks, regardless of how strong you are. Some people handle it better than others. Some people, everybody, if you're a first responder or you work in the ER or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. We have a morbid sense of humor. That's how we deal with the issues that we see. We laugh about it, we joke about it, but we never talk about it. We bottle it up. A lot of first responders suffer in silence. They go home, or police or EMS and whatever, they go home and they drink, drink away the things they see. But, trying to drown out, the things that you hear, those screams or whatever. And we deal with it. We deal with it the best way that we know how, and that's by not. So it's a dark secret, just dealing with those types of things. But the thing about it is, there's help out there if we want it. There's help out there if we need it. I'm sorry, y'all bear with me. I'm just trying to gather my thoughts and get everything together, because I get emotional when I think about it, because I was I was almost not here twice. You know, I wouldn't have been able to see Gabe and Gracie grow up. Um, I wouldn't have been able to walk my daughter down the aisle. I wouldn't have been able to see, what their personalities would be like if I ever have grandchildren. I would have never been able to see that if I would have completed, you know, the suicide attempts. If I wouldn't have had the support system that I have, if I wouldn't have went to therapy, if I wouldn't have talked to people, if I wouldn't have addressed the issues that I have going on in my life, I'm stronger than that and I'm better than that. Thank you, April. I'm thankful to still be here too. But the thing about it is people who people who and I want you guys to realize this, people who complete suicide are not weak. I don't know if you guys realize the thought it takes to go through that. They have, when it gets to that point, these people have went through everything that there is no other way. There is nothing else that can be done to help them. You know, they have went through every scenario in their head and played everything out. And it bothers me when people who have no idea what it's like to go through it to judge them. It bothers me when people don't want to take the time to reach out to folks who may be hurting, who may be struggling. My suicide story went out to my entire fire department. That's a scary thing to have 642 people at the time, or however many, hear that I had attempted suicide twice. What were they going to say? How were they going to look at me? Were they going to judge me? And it was met with an overall sense of support. I had people who contacted me saying thank you because I felt that exact same way. I had people call me and they were like, "You get it. Can I talk to you?" And that's a powerful thing. People wonder why I do these types of things, is because I'm trying to bring awareness out there. I'm not trying to gain anything from this. I'm trying to save somebody's life if I can and help people be willing to talk about these issues that might come up. Now, this is not just going to be the only episode of mental health awareness I do. I'm planning on doing a couple episodes because different people have different stories and people deal with things in a different way. And I just want to bring that awareness out. I just want to bring that awareness out to people who may be going through things like I go through, or who've been through things that I've been through. Now, I had a friend of mine who says he's been depressed and he doesn't know how to deal with it. He wants to hear what everybody else, he wants to hear how other people go through it, what they do to cope. My main thing that I do, I work out. I will, man, I will work out and hitting my heavy bag or hitting pads or doing kickboxing or all of that stuff. That's like the best release for me because I get to, if I'm angry, I can focus my anger and put my anger on that heavy bag. or I can throw those weights through the roof if I need to, or I can just run, or I can get on my spin bike or my rowing machine or whatever it is that I need to do to get my mind back where it needs to be. Exercising releases so many endorphins. It puts you just in a much, much, much better mood. It does for me anyway. I also journal. I I journal a lot. And the best part about a journal, you can write in there whatever it is that you want to write, and nobody's going to see it but you. Nobody's going to think anything or judge you because it's your journal, and nobody's going to see what's inside of your journal. For a year and a half, I was medicated. I took medicine for my depression. Now, I haven't been on my medication since October of last year. And that was a decision that my psychiatrist and we came to. This was planned. He said, because I was doing better, I'm doing a whole lot better, and I haven't had to use it since then because I have these things in place to help me to get where I need to be, you know, and I'm proud of that fact. Now, some people are scared of it, and I understand it. That's so, medication. Some people don't want to take medication, but I look at it like this: you got high blood pressure, right? You're just going to sit there and let your head feel like it's about to explode, or you have a heart attack, or whatever like that, or you're gonna take medicine for it. I take medicine for my high blood pressure, and I'm trying to work it out and work out so I won't have to deal with it. You know what I mean? If you have diabetes, you got to get that insulin shot. Are you not going to take an insulin shot? You know, that's the thing. It's if you don't want to take medication for it, that's fine. Go to therapy. Get you a therapist. Talk it out. Now, for first responders, uh, there is you can go to your employee assistance program if you need to. But a lot of times when you go to your employee assistance program, you feel like you feel like they don't really understand. So for first responders, there is the North Carolina firefighter peer support team. It's not just for firefighters, it's for anybody who wants to reach out and talk to somebody. That's right, Joe. Anyway, either way, it's all medicine. For my fellow first responders, if you go to www.ncffps.org, the help that you need, get yourself a support system. Journal. Talk to people in your life that you can trust, people that care about you, and you know that people care about you. I got people that I call whenever I'm in my worst, when I'm feeling my worst. And they help me get through so much, yo. They help me get through so much. And I'm thankful for them. And I don't know what I'd do without them. So if it's all right with y'all, I want to give a shout out to a few of them. And if I forget you, it's not personal. My mind is all over the place right now. I want a big shout out to my homeboy Smitty. Smitty's been there for me since as far as I can remember. So I appreciate you for that. My homegirl Brittany, my homegirl Jennifer, Binky, but he ain't on Facebook. But I'm sure Keisha will tell his ass. My homegirl Tahita, April, and Mandy. There's so many more, y'all. Lorena, thank you. But that's just a part of my support system. Oh, can't forget about Mel. Even though he won't admit it, Mel's a part of my support system. He don't like the mushy stuff. So, but the thing about it, folks, There's help out there if you want it. There's help out there if you need it. Hell, you can call me. I don't have a problem with it. Hit me up. Hit me up on Messenger. It's all right to be, what up, Phil? It's okay to not be okay. It really is. And you don't have to be, you don't have to put on that front if you don't want to. You know, you don't have to put on that mask. You know, I know that we put it on to protect ourselves. I know we put it on to keep ourselves safe and not to show the world what's behind it. You know, there's several times where I've been like this, but behind that mask, I'm a mess. And so I reach out and I ask for help. There's nothing wrong, but there's no weakness in reaching out for help. There's no weakness in getting the help that we need. There's no weakness in taking care of yourself. But I want you guys to realize that when people, I want you guys to realize for folks who don't have, who've never had a mental illness or depression or anxiety or anything like that, be patient with us, you know, because it's really tough for us to be social. It's tough for us to leave the, it's tough to leave the confines of our home because our home is our safe place, you know? But don't give up on us either. Because if you give up on us, then that just makes us feel that much worse, you know? It puts us in a point where, well, damn, you know, if they, my people don't want to be around me, who else will? You know, it kind of, we kind of we dig ourselves into a really deep hole. But the thing about it, a lot of us don't know how to get out of it. And we feel like there is nowhere else to go but down. You know, just dig the hole deeper and deeper. So if you know somebody who's going through this stuff and you know somebody who's having a tough time, be there for that person. For everybody who's reached out to me, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have no idea how much you mean to me. Especially on days where I feel like I can't do it. Every day is a battle. But I get up and I fight that battle every day because I have two beautiful, beautiful children who rely on me each and every day. They have literally saved my life. They are my light. They are my heart. They are what keeps me going in this crazy, crazy world. So, again, first responders, you got the North Carolina Peer Support Team. They are there. Check us out at ncffps.org and call at 855-7NC-PEER if you need it. If any of you guys are attempting or thinking about suicide or know somebody else who may be thinking about it, give them the phone number to the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, 24/7, 365. The number there is 1-800-273-8255. Again, it's 1-800-273-8255. Give that number a call. They will most definitely help you out, get you the information that you need to get better. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys learned something. We're going to continue to do these. It's going to probably be about 4 or 5 episodes. I want to address a number of issues. I want to see if I can get some of my counselor friends to come up here, and you might see some people's stories that you might not have expected to see. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting ride. It can be scary, but I'm here if you need me to be. All right? Take care of yourself. Love yourself. All right? And if nobody's told you today, I love you. All right, y'all. Peace.